A sergeant here just told me that officers have been notified that the officer who shot and killed Mike Brown on Saturday should be named later today.
Keep in mind that bullets do ricochet, and that is when we said, we're out of here. We came back to command post. I got here just before 11:30 last night, and honestly, when I got here, it was a very quiet, relatively slow, and then just like that, chaos ensued when someone threw a bottle at police after a string of deadly shootings. 6 people murdered in less than 24 hours on the streets of St. Louis. New this morning, an 8-month-old baby is the latest shooting victim. But funding those projects means voters will have to approve tax hikes. Our Mike Colombo joins us live this morning. A boater was killed over the weekend at the Lake of the Ozarks. Police say he was arrested by Missouri Highway Patrol, put on their boat, handcuffed, and then fell off and drowned. Was going this way down a one-way street and then hit a car. Then that car hit another, which hit another. I've been walking around this White Castle. Check out what I just found. This is a shell casing. Are investigating how a woman was hit in the face by a stray bullet. The budget that senators will vote on and most likely pass today is bigger than these together.
I can slide just by pushing my hands, so you can imagine just how slick.
It is gorgeous outside right now. Awesome for a Monday in January. To the gridiron in Columbia now. It's so far so good for the Missouri Tigers. Mizzou is 3-0, or what I like to call 3-0, yeah. Researchers at Michigan State University have developed a new technology, extracting drinkable water from manure. It's pretty hot. Oh, whoa, it's really hot. Oh, my goodness.
We really wanted to bring you a first-hand account of what it was like to be in the middle of all of this overnight. So News 4's Laura Hettiger started working at 8 o'clock last night. She's the only morning reporter who really spent a lot of her night on the streets in Ferguson among the crowds of people. Laura kicks off our team coverage this morning live in Ferguson. Laura.
And Claire, it was really an eye-opening night for me because when I got to that protest, I was expecting to see so many of the images many of our viewers have grown accustomed to seeing this week. Police in tactical gear, violent riots, and really mass confusion. From what I saw, though, that was not the case.
You see, ain't nobody out here fighting. Everybody's out here for Michael Brown. Everybody's kind of running around doing their own thing, but they're not angry. Last night they were angry and they were ready to they're ready to fight.
From fighting on Wednesday to a sense of freedom on Thursday.
I thought it was going to be violent. I expected police officers. I expected like it was the night before, but it's not like that. It's much more peaceful.
A parade of cars, loud honking, and large crowds at night might not seem all that peaceful to you, but it sure is to all of these folks in Ferguson.
The protesters are the ones that are keeping the peace, that are controlling traffic, and that's how it should be done.
In the entire 3.5 hours I reported through the protest, there was only one moment that I and everyone else I talked to was scared. We just so happened to catch it on camera.
I live in Greenville now, and I work in Kirkwood.
3 distinctive pops sound so familiar to so many in this area. Luckily, turned out to be a false alarm.
That was firecrackers, everybody.
Protesters tell us that they are sorry about the looting and the damage to all the businesses, but they also say the only reason all this is able to happen is because of a change in the way Ferguson is being policed.
People were just saying thanks for allowing us to speak and without fear of tear gas and some of those things, and so I want them to speak and I want to hear what they say, but I also ask them we have to do it in a peaceful way.
That is Captain Ron Johnson, now the man in charge of all of this, and he's going to have a busy day. Why? Because county police just told me there were 5 incidents overnight in which they could not respond. I'll explain more of that coming up at 6:30.
Laura Hettiger tracked down the head of transportation to find out if your kids are safe on the school bus. Laura.
And Jasmine, this is exactly where that bus fire happened. You can see all the damage it did to the grass around me. So yeah, you can tell this was a major fire. But get this, I found out the bus involved is only 3 years old and it had been inspected and approved to be on these roads as recently as last Tuesday. So how in the world could this happen just 2 days later?
As far as we know, flames were coming out of the bottom of the bus.
And in seconds, this happened. Flames under the bus, flames shooting through it, and a plume of black smoke billowing into the air.
Right now we're working on determining, what exactly happened, what exactly occurred.
Tammy Webb is the head of transportation for VIC, a nonprofit spinoff from the desegregation program. She says this bus passed an inspection this year, and just Tuesday, it was approved to be on the road. I asked her, based on this video, should all 240 Durham buses in their fleet be re-inspected?
It seems odd that if it was approved on Tuesday, then this happens on Thursday.
Well, again, until we determine what was the situation, what exactly caused the situation, then we'll take a look at what occurred.
Now it's up to Durham bus officials to go through the shell of this bus and figure out how this happened.
I would hate to speculate on what exactly occurred because, again, at this time we don't know.
A lot of unknowns remain in this investigation, especially just how much time passed between when the last student was dropped off and when those flames ripped through this bus. I'll explain why that spokesperson can't give me an answer to that, and also what the driver heard right before that fire happened, coming up all new on News 4 at 6. Reporting live in North St. Louis, Laura Hettiger, News 4.
What we often can't report is the victim's story. Laura Hettiger joins us live from the Central West End. And Laura, you cover a lot of crime, but today's story a little different.
I sure do, Andre, and in fact, I've covered 58 deaths just this year, and I keep count of that number for a couple of reasons. One, to better track crime and crime trends, and two, in hopes of following up with those families, and that's what I'm doing today with the story of Kenneth Watkins. I need to tell you, it was actually a police officer who told me about this 22-year-old father who should just be waking up for his final day of college classes. Instead, I wound up meeting his mother, who told me that his life was cut short right inside this apartment building, all because of senseless gun violence.
And I just always told him to be careful, just be careful out there because people are crazy. And his thing is, I'll be okay, Mom.
We first told you about Angela Watkins' son Kenneth in early July. Instead of sharing happier times like his graduation from Kirkwood High School,
the crime of murder is shaking up.
Our cameras brought you here to the 5500 block of Pershing in the Central West End. This is where he was murdered.
Wasn't even out in the streets. He was in his apartment.
Someone killed Watkins one day before he was supposed to move out of his first apartment.
My last weekend. I say, yeah, this is your last weekend here.
Angela tells me she remembers almost everything about that last weekend of June, especially the first thing doctors told her.
They said there was nothing they can do.
Angela is now raising Kenneth's son, her grandson. She says Kenneth's death is even more unfortunate because he was just months away from becoming a police officer. Something even more remarkable because one of his best friends says he was a former gang member.
That was one of our main connections, was the fact that we both used to be in the streets. He was a Blood and I was a Crip, and it was kind of weird that we actually were able to come together and be friends.
Police, family, and friends also say what really stood out about Kenneth was his drive to make his life better.
That was his motivation as well, taking care of his mom, his son, his sister, and that's what he always talked about. I gotta do this, I'm gonna make it.
And unfortunately for all the people this future police officer could have touched and helped, Kenneth is now made into a crime statistic. He is homicide number 49 out of 90 in the city of St. Louis, and city police tell me there have not been any arrests in this case. Live in the Central West End, Laura Hettiger, News 4. 6:08 on this Friday morning. You are taking a live look at Lambert International Airport. Hopefully you have some friends flying in for this Father's Day weekend. If so, today sounds like it's going to be a beautiful summer day. We'll check in with Kent coming up at 6:14. Right now, President Obama is weighing several military options, including airstrikes and intel assistance in Iraq. But the White House insists American troops back on the ground in that country is not an option. This all comes less than 3 years after U.S. forces left that country. Al-Qaeda-inspired militants have started creating chaos in several cities, including threatening to take over Baghdad. Overnight, we learned the bodies of 5 American soldiers killed in Afghanistan this week are back on U.S. soil. One of those killed was a 19-year-old from Illinois. The Pentagon says a coalition jet mistakenly bombed the U.S. Special Forces troops. If you can, go ahead and take a look at your screen. If you live or work in St. Charles County, you may have seen it in person.
The St. Charles County Ambulance District posted the signs.
News 4 is learning another Madison County official is calling for oversight in how your tax dollars are being invested. This week, the county board chair proposed an independent firm watch over how Treasurer Kurt Prinzler invests county dollars. Prinzler has $130 million to invest for the county, and the board chair says dismal returns are hurting the budget.
This is costing the taxpayers money.
The treasurer says he's merely playing by the rules laid out by the state of Illinois and investing safely. But you might remember just last month, News 4 reported that the county auditor also called for an oversight committee to step in. We continue to track the fight against heroin abuse in our area, and in just a few hours, the Madison County Heroin Task Force will hold a public meeting at the County Administration Building. The task force is trying to figure out just how big of a problem this is in the Metro East and then figure out how to fix it. Taking a live look at beautiful Busch Stadium right now. That is because in 20 minutes from right now at 8:06, runners will begin the annual Cardinals Care 6K. Cardinals Care charity will get the money for it. And of course, that is one of KMOV's sponsored charities. So good luck to all those runners in that 6K. They will end on Busch Stadium. But there won't be a game there today. That is because the National League Battle of the Best in the Midwest wraps up today in Milwaukee as the Birds and Brewers duke it out at 1:10. Adam Wainwright gets the start, and this comes after the Cardinals found a way to win last night despite a pretty ugly game. STL with 3 errors, but luckily a couple of big home runs in the first inning. Matt Adams gets a hanging curveball and drills it to right field. A 2-run blast in Brew City by Big City, his 14th of the year, making it 2-0 Cardinals. But the Brewers got those runs right back in the bottom of the first. Ryan Braun with a shot to left. Matt Holliday can't get it. He mishandles the ball, allowing the runner from second to score. Holliday picked up another error on that throw home. Tied 2-2, but here we go. Colton Wong put the Cards ahead in the fourth with a shot to center. That'll get down, went to the wall. Johnny Peralta, come on home. Birds up 3-2. Then Oscar Taveras right here hit a low pitch high into right field. A 2-run bomb. 3rd homer of the year for Taveras. Cardinals win 5-3 and extend their lead in the Central Division to 4 games. Now, you might want to check your watch or the clock. T-minus 4 hours and just about 10 minutes until the Rams open their 2014 campaign here at home in the Dome. The Vikings from Minnesota are the Rams' first foe this year, and the Rams just named their season captains. Really not much of a surprise on who they are. They are Chris Long, James Laurinaitis, Johnny Hecker, and Sam Bradford's replacement, Sean Hill. Hill became the man when Bradford tore his ACL again during a preseason game against the Browns. Bradford has not yet scheduled his knee surgery, but he did talk about his injury for the first time just a couple of days ago.
Physically, I actually feel great right now. You know, my knee feels great. There's no pain.
Sad situation for Sam Bradford there, but a very good day for football fans because, man, tailgating weather is going to be perfect around the Dome.
I mean, it really doesn't get a whole lot better than what we're going to have today. I mean, low humidity, highs in the 70s. I mean, picture perfect September weather. I know there's a lot of festivals going on too.